Welcome, everyone. I'm Sherold Barr from SheroldBarr.com, and today I'm bringing you another interview in my series of interviews that I call Women Entrepreneurs on the Rise, where we share the backstory of what goes on in real businesses and talk about the challenges and the successes of how these women have stayed in business and are moving forward and thriving in their business. Today, I'm really excited to bring you a friend of mine. Shanti Hodge is the founder of Hike It Baby. It's an organization that she started 2 years ago to help families connect across North America on trails. It started with 6 moms on a casual hike, and this has grown into a movement with 70,000 families hiking in 183 cities in 8 countries. And Shanti says it's an accidental company, that she only started with an idea, without thinking that it would take off. And she's been blown away by the response and the rapid growth. And it's exceeded her wildest expectations for getting families together. And to date, she's had the opportunity to hike with a handful of branches around the country and hopes to eventually do a tour to meet many more. So welcome, Shanti. And I'm so excited to have you give us more of your story and how this started. And it's just an amazing movement, and I know that it's growing rapidly as we speak. Tell us about your story and your...
Well, Sherold, it's been a crazy ride because it started with just me having a child at 41 years old and realizing I was going to lose my friends instantly because most of my friends either didn't have kids or had grown kids already. And suddenly I found myself pregnant and with this decision to have a child at 41, and I didn't know what was going to happen next. So after I had Mason, right away I found that people came for the first 2 weeks and then I was alone, and I went to a new mama group to try and meet some people, and that was fun, but we were sitting inside and I just kept thinking, God, it'd be way more fun to be walking with everyone outside. And I invited some people to walk with me the next week, and 5 women actually showed up, and I was shocked. And then the following week, I just said, hey, will everyone meet me next week too? And the following week, 15 women showed up. And that's when I realized all of a sudden, just like within a few weeks, that everybody was feeling how I was feeling, which is we wanted to get outside and be together. Like, the mama groups are great and they're awesome for learning how to nurse and just be around other people. But if you want to just be outside and moving, without working out, because I was, 4 weeks after having a baby, and I wasn't ready to go so I just started realizing right away that other women felt the way I felt and that they wanted to get outside with other people. And I realized it probably wasn't just women as well, because with a lot of the new mama groups, men aren't invited, fathers aren't invited, and there's more and more stay-at-home dads. And I just wanted to get out with people, and I didn't care, I just wanted people that liked to get outside and do that with me. And so really in a few weeks, I started posting a couple of hikes a day, and I would put them into different Facebook groups, and I would announce them in my mama groups, and people just started calling me and texting me and asking me when my next hike was. And it just grew organically like that. And all of a sudden, because I had skills in building websites, I'm like, well, I'm going to throw up a website so people can find the hikes and they don't have to call me or text me or wait for my email to go out every week. And really, within a few weeks, I had a few hundred people, and then it was growing and growing, and it just happened like that. And within 1 year, about 1,000 people were hiking with us, and people started writing me from around the country, seeing our pictures on Facebook. And I realized then that we could build out a program and grow it even from there. So it just blossomed. And in 1 year, we went from, a couple of cities hiking to, I think we were close to 120 cities in 1 year. And now by a year and a half, we're at 183 cities, and now 8 countries. We're hiking in South Africa and England and Australia. And what's really neat about it is in the middle of all this, I actually thought I was going to go right back to work. And I just found it was so hard to go back to building websites and working with small businesses and being a freelancer when I had a child. And also my husband works in Alaska part-time, so he was gone a lot. So I was just really struggling with all of that. And I just thought, I'm just going to have fun with this hike group. I need to take a year off anyways. It's just not happening with work. And so at the same time, I did take the Marie for Leo based on your advice.
Yeah, B-School.
Just for a jump start and just to figure out where I was going to go with my business after I was ready to get back at it. And in that, I just found the only project I wanted to work on was not my former work life, but building out Hike It Baby. And so I used that course to help me build out Hike It Baby, which was awesome because it really like helped me find my true calling, and I could feel it. I could just feel it happening. Everything just fell together very easily.
Hmm. And I know a little bit about the backstory that you talked about. Can you share a little bit more about why you wanted to be active when you had Mason?
Yeah, I mean, I just actually wrote an article about this a few weeks ago. I knew you years ago when I was struggling with starting up this business of building websites and working as a marketing person for small businesses. And I went through a really tough time. I lost my house. I lost my most of my business clients from a former business I had, and like everything just sort of was folding together at once. And I felt like that was one of the first times I ever really experienced depression. And the joke always with my friends was like, "Oh, your depressed day is like my good day."
Yeah,
So I was always a very upbeat, like
you
everything's
are.
going to be okay person.
Yeah.
And, I definitely hit a depression wall at about 38. And it's interesting. I think people maybe hit depression earlier in their life, maybe because they have a baby and they have postpartum depression, or, they lose a job earlier, or just have some success, some bad luck that can lead to depression. But I really hit a wall. And, you even suggested like, you might want to go get some help with this. And I did. And I came out of that. But it was a couple years of really battling with it. So when I had Mason, I was actually in a really good place and really happy. But I was really scared because every article I read in the Huffington Post said, you're going to be so depressed after you have a baby. Just like, I was like, I'm convinced I am a perfect postpartum depression person.
Oh.
Like, it's going to be me. My friends are going to be gone. I'm going to be old. I'm going to be like, oh my God, I'm 41 years old and I have a baby. Ah. So really there was a bit of, as I like to say, sort of hiking it away. Like I just thought, I need to be active. I need to be outside. I need to be, I need to find things to do. I need to stay busy. I need to keep my mind working. I don't want to just be sitting here on the couch. And I gained a lot of weight. I was over 200 pounds,
Oh.
and I'm 5'5". So that was like, oh my God. Like I was like convinced I was going to be fat and depressed.
Oh, not fun.
So yeah, that's scary. I mean, as a woman, that's really overwhelming. And on top of it being in my 40s, so I started hiking, not at all for exercise, like to lose weight or anything, but just to keep movement going, to keep busy with Mason, to keep my mind working, to be around other people. And all those things really did help. And as I saw it helping me, I would tell my story to other women and they would just be blown away. And then they would start hiking more and more and more. And I quietly committed to hiking 52, like the whole year from middle of July, or maybe about the end of July. I decided I was going to hike a year, one time a week at least for a year, and see how it changed me. And I did. And when I got to that final day, I just like that final month, and a year later, I was like, wow, I really did it. I didn't tell anyone. I didn't make a big deal out of it. It's just like I had hiked for a year with Mason and I felt great and I felt happy. And by a little bit after that too, I mean, I was losing weight after about a year. I dropped a lot of weight, and I actually, have more or less gotten down to a smaller size than I've ever been in my life, and feel healthier and stronger and happier than I've ever been. So I really attribute that to the effects of getting out into nature and being on trail. So it's for Mason, but it's also for me.
Yeah, and I think bringing all the moms together and dads too,
Yeah.
because there's a big dad component as part of that. But what benefits do you see getting the kids? You and I are both nature lovers. We live here in Portland, Oregon, for people who don't know, and it rains. Like it's raining, but we keep hiking. Most of us don't carry umbrellas. It's just
Yeah.
kind of, we're used to it. What are the benefits that you've seen from gathering these families together and being in nature? Because
Uh,
we live in this tech world where everybody's
yeah.
plugged in.
I think the problem is right now is that our society sort of says, oh, you have a baby, go sit in a coffee shop or go sit in a library together. It's quiet, it's peaceful, and like your kids can run around and play. And that's all super awesome. But at the same time, it's not stimulating. You're not moving your body and being on uneven ground and battling weather and snow and rain and sun and all this stuff. And it's really, there is something to be said about how you can really shift your energy and your community by getting more out into nature. And from what I've seen, I mean, I get letters daily, many, 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 from women saying, you've changed my family's life, you've changed my life. And I'm like, it's not me, it's you. You did it. And that's what I think is really important. The important part about Hike It Baby is it's not me changing how you think or what you do. It's you making that action, you doing that action. So we are totally volunteer led, which is a tricky thing because at this point we are not a nonprofit, but we're actually moving towards that. But it's just really complicated as you get so big so fast. So
Hmm.
what's important though is that each community is led by someone that has that vision like I did, and it's their own vision of like, oh, I'd love to get my community out hiking and being together outside. And then they go through our little training and then they start their branch and it gets going, and they are part of a bigger vision. And that's what's really cool about it too, is that
Yeah.
my vision for this is that it's not about me, it's about us. We
Hmm.
are a collective, we are all doing this together, and it's you and the person in New York and the person, I mean, we have a branch in New Jersey, I mean, South Africa.
Yeah.
It's everyone doing these things together, doing the same act of just getting out and hiking and sharing their pictures and sharing their stories and sharing their community with other people that is making us stronger and happier and healthier.
Oh,
So,
that's so great. Can you share one of the stories? I've heard a few, but what is one story that just is so heartwarming about a family or a child, something that Hike It Babies helped?
oh my God, they're every day. Real tear jerkers of like, we've had moms write us who tell us that their children, one woman who said her child had cerebral palsy and was really said, they said she wouldn't really ever be able to walk. And they started walking with the group and she carried the child, but also just the child being set down and on uneven ground and around other children crawling and walking and stuff. And she's now, I think, close to 3 and she's walking and really able to cover some distance. So there's those kind of stories that come in. They're incredible. Just today, I had a military mom write me, and she's been very active. And she said, like, she was never one to be part of the mommy groups, and she wasn't into that scene. And,
Yeah.
and yet Hike It Baby's become a very critical part of her life for finding community, finding friends, and finding her strength and getting healthy again. She also gained a lot of weight. And she said, as a military person, you're moved from community to community.
Yeah.
And to find a new community, even within the military community, can be really awkward sometimes. And so hiking baby is very natural because we go out and we meet each other on hikes and walks. And if you're not jiving with someone, you just move on to the next person. And it's like, it's very, there's not that pressure to sit there and have this coffee shop date with someone that you may not really jive with. Like it's
Hmm.
all very casual. There's no RSVP. There's no, it's just like, hey, show up. If you make it, great. If you don't, we'll be there tomorrow.
Hmm.
So her story was great to hear that and how it really impacted her because I've met her personally. She lives up in Alaska in Anchorage. She just really embraced the group and has really helped it grow out there. And so I know the impact she's had on the military community by bringing Hike It Baby into that very closed community.
Hmm.
So it's really exciting to see that we're touching all kinds of things. It's not just we're touching the ultra able community. We have Spanish hikes going on in different communities now. And so we have Spanish hikes going on. We have a lot of gay families involved with us.
Wow.
Awesome. We have a bunch of gay branch leads. Love it. And that's what I like is that we are a no judgment group. We have these guidelines of leave no family behind. That's one of our number
Oh,
one
love
goals. We
that.
have a lead and a caboose on every hike to make sure everything's really safe and move slow. And if you have a blowout or a baby's like people come and they're really embarrassed when their baby starts screaming and is not happy in the carrier or needs a diaper change or is hungry or is wet or cold and like people get so like oh, I'm so sorry, oh, and we're all like, hey, no worries, hey everyone, we're just gonna hold up for a little bit and let's just hang out and just like address this situation and
Yeah.
shift it. And so it's really cool when you have a collective of people. I mean, we've literally been on trail and had people, like a woman once slipped and fell and sprained her ankle. She's like, oh no, everyone go on without me. It's like, no, we'll take your baby, we're
Oh,
gonna carry you out. I mean, we are,
wow.
sometimes I do feel like we're like on the front lines and we're carrying each other out of the forest and
Oh,
we
we
go
need
on these
this.
hikes and we're together. And so sometimes they're hikes and they're small and sometimes they're parades. And there's like, we've had, our biggest was 140 people.
Oh my goodness.
Yeah.
Oh my goodness.
Yeah.
That is unbelievable. And it's just, I know too, like you said, it's catching on like wildfire. You know what it sounds like? It sounds like anyone can come and their identity, it doesn't matter who you are in
Yeah.
your social circles or your work. because all of that sounds like it falls away outside,
Yeah.
and you're in this group of families or women and men, whatever, with babies, and that's the common bond. I think that's the
Mom, dad, nanny,
beautiful.
granny, auntie, uncle. We say mom, dad, nanny, granny, auntie, uncle, doggy, whoever you want to bring along with you, no problem.
Yeah,
It's just we're a no judgment group. We
yeah,
really leave politics at home. We leave vaccination discussions at home. We leave car seat discussions at home. We leave feeding at home. I mean, we're not a space for that. We're a space to get out on trail and
yeah.
be together and enjoy. And, and we even have, if there are sort of Debbie Downers on a hike, we'll really like try and say, hey, it sounds like you're having a really rough time right now. This is a great space for you to just enjoy the hike and let that go. And we really encourage people to let go their negativity and their downer energy
Yeah.
in that moment and be in the moment.
That's so fabulous. And you're a natural connector. This is playing to your strengths as, because this is exactly where you play in what you do best. So the fact that this, as you said, was an accidental business is just, it came out of a need you had to get out and connect. And then now it's just mushroomed into this huge thing. And I know you're trying to get sponsors right now, and you've gotten some sponsors. Can you talk about any of that?
Initially, every business person I've talked to is like, well, of course, charge a membership. And it's like, well, we're different than like great groups that I love, like Stroller Strides or Baby Boot Camp or, different organizations. We're not about a membership or about charging for going out to do something free that everyone is volunteering to lead. That would be a little cheeky. And so I recognize that. But we do need to fund all of this. I mean, we've had a lot of people question, like, well, what do you need to fund? It's like, well, the website is actually really complicated. We have over 100,000 people on it a month. And so there's been months where we've crashed it, and that can cost upwards to $3,000 to fix it. So what we have is we have decided that companies were the way to go. So we have been going from company to company and just being like, here's our program. If you want to get involved, you can market to the group. And it's a group of people that really appreciate your product. So we're very specific about who we pick because we don't want to just like I don't want to be down on a formula company, but formula tends to be pretty frowned upon within our group. So if a formula company came to us, like it would have to be a really specific campaign with a really clear understanding of why we're presenting that. And even to go so far as we really care about what products we're putting inside of our children. And so so it's tough. It's a really tough dance because we want to support getting families out and we want to have sponsors give us money to make it happen. But we also want to be sensitive to the community and what the community's beliefs are. Mm-hmm. We really care about, first and foremost, our health and a healthy lifestyle. So Deuter is a partner of ours now. They make frame carriers for kids and backpacks and all kinds of cool stuff. Keen has been amazing. They're in Portland, which I'm so happy to be partnered with a company here in Portland. And they are going to be, they're great. They're getting all of our branch leads and shoes, and it's awesome. Okiwear is another local company. They're just up in Vancouver, Washington, and they put rain suits on kids. And so we're really excited that these partners are just coming out, and it's getting easier and easier to say, hey, we just need a little bit of money, because we view it as if we get a tiny bit from many, many, many companies. Sure, it's having to throw advertising stuff at people, but we have a controlled way that we do that. Mm-hmm. So it's not like being bombarded all the time. If a lot of people chip in, we collectively can make this incredible hiking organization that can continue for many generations. Because I don't want it to just start up and die. And that's what people will tell you. They go looking for a hike group and they go on Meetup, and it's not happening anymore.
Right.
So that's why we started all this.
Well, that's fabulous. Yes, you've done a great job. I've asked everyone this, a women entrepreneur or out there who's struggling in her business, because we've all had days where we think, here's a big challenge. I'm not sure I can, go through this challenge. Anything that you would say to a woman out there about holding on to the dream that she might have?
I mean, for me, I've wanted to give up many times, but I just realized, like my husband's had a hard time understanding, like, what is this? You're spending all this time doing this. You could just be with us and go hiking. Like, why do you need all this around you to go hiking? And I'm like, well, I don't need this. It's just that I have this vision and I'm making it happen and I can't walk away from it. Yeah, I mean, there's been many days, but what I always say is like, at the end of the day, if this is what you're supposed to be doing, the doors just keep opening. And so look for those doors. And that's what I do is, when I'm having those moments of just feeling like, oh, this is like, why am I doing this? Like, I'm like, okay, stop, look around. Oh, hey, look at that. Like that's where I'm supposed to be going next. And aim for that and a success so that you're not just going from failure to failure in terms of knocking on doors and everyone saying, no, 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 no. I had a bit of that in the beginning. I mean, I think now we have hit critical mass. And so literally for me to call up a company and talk to them now, or to call up a partner like American Hiking Society or different, organizations we want to partner with, they've heard about us. And so that's really exciting to me now. I mean, literally I just called an accounting firm the other day and was looking for their services, and they're like, "Oh, you're Hiking Baby. Yeah, we know about you guys." And I'm like, "Oh my God, just a random accounting firm in Portland. That's huge. And they have all these clients and they knew us." So it's really wild, and to be at this level now, where it's starting to the momentum is happening. You'll feel that shift. You feel that tipping point, and you just got to hang on until you get there, and just keep looking forward, like. And if that's not working, don't just keep going that direction. Be open to possibilities. I had to learn, and it was a very hard learning thing, but I had to learn, and I've learned it over the years. But just with this, that there were many people around me that I had to trust. And I had to, when I would say no to their idea, I learned in the last 6 to 8 months, every time I said no, to stop and go, wait, I know I just said no to you, but let me just think about it. And I'd stop and I'd think about it, even if it took a day or 2 or 3. And every single time I went back to that person, and almost always their idea was great. And so I'm learning that my ideas, it's not that my ideas are bad, it's just that my ideas aren't the only ideas that are going to make this successful.
Yes, that makes sense. Yes. And you've got your core competencies and skills and enthusiasm for building community. And that's really what has grown this.
Oh, one last thing.
Sure.
Opt outside. Hashtag opt outside. There's a movement right now going on. For us, opt outside is every day. We, with Hiking Baby, Black Friday, we already had hikes planned. We did them last year and had tons of people out hiking. So we encourage people to do it every day. So really to try and remember that you don't need to make it a special day to go hiking. Like you can do it anytime. And a hike doesn't have to mean going and hiking a mountain. It can mean literally taking a hike around your neighborhood. Just look for those outside experiences everywhere. And we have a calendar that is accessible every day, and we have hikes every day.
So how do they find you?
Just hikeitbaby.com, and then you go find your city. And in our calendar, you can type in your city name, and it'll get hikes up to 60 miles around you.
So if people haven't really been hikers, but they want to start, it's open for everybody.
Yeah, and there's stuff every day. And I mean, that's the beautiful part about it, is there's tons of new hikes for new people. And what's been really interesting is watching people who are very experienced hikers come on with very new people and how they help each other. Like a very experienced person can have a whole new experience on a trail when they're with a person that's never hiked before, and being able to teach them and share their experience with them. So it's really great. So I just really want to encourage people to really think about hiking as a more casual activity, and not try and plan hiking a giant mountain or feeling like you have to do an epic thing to make it an incredible hiking experience.
Oh, I love that. That's perfect. Well, thank you so much, Shanti. And I look forward to hearing more about it as you grow. All right. Take care. Bye.
Bye.